Hello, sorry, I'll just switch that camera around. There we go. Hi, Suzanne. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the right spot yet. Is my chair squeaky? Hello, hello, hello. Another gloomy day here. I'll just wait for a few more people. Hello, thank you. Hi. Hello. So, today I'm going to be, excuse me, itchy nose, showing you how to make the latest square in our mystery cowl. This is Anne. She's pretty easy. The only weird bit unusual thing is the front post stitches. Hi. Hi, hello. Thank you for that. I still don't really believe how many people follow me there, but anyway, that's all cool. This is the single colour version. Cool, I'm glad. She is pretty easy. There are a couple of people struggling with a little few things in it though, so we'll probably get going on how to make it. Okay, so probably first to start out, I should say, if you found me some other weird way, my name's Shelley. I design crochet patterns. At the moment I'm running a mystery crochet along where everybody makes the same project at the same time. I'm releasing a new pattern every 2 weeks, and this is going to be a video of me showing how to make it. All the details are available on my website, which is spincushions.com. There's lots of tabs across the top where you can find free patterns, ebooks, paid patterns. There's a tab especially for the mystery cowl. Yeah, so all the information's there. You can also sign up for my newsletter. So once a month I can send you a newsletter full of all what I've been up to. And you can also sign up to get emails for this cowl project as well. So that's all that stuff out of the way. So let's get going on making Anne. Let's swap that camera around. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Right, now I've got a new phone since last time, so even though it's a quite a dark day, I think it's going to be fine. All right, so I have my pattern here. Mine's in UK terms. So our first round is just like a granny square. So I'm going to use this yarn today. I'm going to start with a magic circle, as I usually do. Now the pattern says to chain 3, but I do a false treble instead, which is done like this. That's 1. Two. If you're new to Periscope and don't know what these hearts are and where they're coming from, if you just tap on the screen, little hearts appear and you get allocated a colour, I think, as you join. There you go. See, someone's got the poo brown. Who's got blue? No one's got blue yet. Oh yeah, there's a little blue one. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by hearts. Thank you. Oh, look at all those blues. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. I'll get back to work. Okay, so I've done my first 3 stitches. Now I'm chaining 2. Sorry, I'm a bit awkward today. I'll take my glasses off, might help. There we go. Okay. Now I'm on to my second group of 3 trebles or double crochets. Yes, it's being recorded. I'll upload it to, you'll be able to view it for 24 hours on Periscope, and then you can watch it later on Catch, KATCH.me, and also I'll upload it on YouTube as well. When I get around to it, uploading to YouTube takes hours, and it uses internet, and the family doesn't like me very much when I do it because it slows everything down. Oops, sorry, working through the camera makes me a lot slower than I normally am. 1, 2, 3. I should say too, just a warning in case I drop out. We do survive on wireless internet here, so if I do drop out, I'll just start again picking up where I left off from. So we've got 1, 2, 3 groups of 3. Do another 2 chain for another quarter, and another group of 3. 1, 2. Oops. Sorry, too much stuff in the way. Oh, crikey. Okay. Just going to move those out. I think they're distracting the focus of the camera. Okay, so now I've got my 4 groups of 3. I'm going to pull my magic circle tight. So, 1. I did, that's right, yes. I've got a YouTube video called false treble or false double crochet, just showing you how to do it. It just looks much better than the 3 chain. Looks like just a normal stitch pretty much. Okay, so I've got 3 2 chain, 3 treble, 2 chain, 3 stitches, 2 chain, 3 stitches. So now, Donna particularly, this is where I want you to do, Donna. When you get to this point, I want you to put a scrap of yarn in that gap in between the 2 groups. Now, I want you to chain 1, and we're going to join with a double crochet UK terms or single crochet US terms to this first stitch. Now if it was 3 chain, you just go through in the back loop like that. Because I've done a false stitch, I can actually go through like a V like we would in a normal stitch, if I can do it. There we go. Now instead of joining with a, that's cool. Instead of joining with just a slip stitch where I would pull this loop through all, I'm going to pull it through that, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull it through those 2 stitches. So now, instead of having 2 chain in this space, we've got 1 chain and this kind of sideways single crochet or double crochet. So now we're going to start the next round. Sorry, it's going out of focus. I'll try and, there we go. Okay, our next round we have 3 chain or a false treble, and then we're just going to do a stitch in each of the stitches across, and each corner is a treble or double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet. So to start off, I'll do 3 chain just to help those beginners who are still doing 3 chain. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Right, and now we're going to start working on our sides. I'm going to put that yarn on the ground. So we have to do a stitch in each of the 3 stitches across. The first stitch goes in that place where that same hole there, where we did, whoops, hang on, my stitch marker's falling out. The same place that we put that joining stitch. That's where we put our hook in. So that's our first stitch along the side. Here's our second. And here's our third. Right, so that's one side. So remember, in my patterns, the instructions between the single asterisk and the double asterisk, that is a side. And then the instructions between the double asterisk and the single asterisk is a corner. So between a single and a single is a side and a corner. Just that helps you sort of visualize things, I think, sometimes. So we've just done this bit. So now we're up to our corner, which is a stitch, treble or double crochet if you're US, chain 2 and a double crochet or treble in the 2 chain space. So this is the 2 chain space. So we'll do 1 stitch, 2 chain, hello, another stitch. Sorry, it keeps going out of focus. I'm not sure. Still getting used to this new phone, so that might have something to do with it. So we have now done our first side and our first corner. We've done our first lot of, we've done between here and here once. We've already done that bit once. So now we have to repeat from there to there to there 2 more times. So we're going to do that whole thing once, twice, and then I'll stop and show you the pattern. Sorry, I might be going a little bit back to basics too much for some of you, but there are some people who are having a little bit of trouble, some of the beginners. So I wanted to really slow it down and step it up so that they can really get it. So that's my 3 stitches along the side. Now I'm doing another corner, 1 stitch, 2, I'm going to have a look over the camera. 2, we all fumble. Oh, come on, camera, focus. Just try and get the sweet spot. Maybe if I tap on it. No. Sorry, I really don't know why. Too much stuff in the background, maybe. Ugh. Sorry, I'm even having trouble seeing. Sorry, I thought I had all this sorted out before I started. It's going in nice focus. There we go. That's better. Oops. Next corner. Hi. Chain 2, another stitch in this corner. Oops. Crikey, sorry. I keep saying crikey too. I don't say that usually. I don't know why I'm saying it now. Okay, so now I have done this section. I have repeated, I've repeated from there to there twice. So now I need to repeat from the single asterisk to the double asterisk once, which is a side. I've just got to do one side, which is a treble or stitch in the next 3 stitches. So let's do that. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we can, if you ever get stuck, just plop it down and you'll be able to see where you're at. Okay, so we started our first corner with the 3 chain. We've done a side and a corner, a side and a corner, side and a corner and a side. Now we're going to finish that first corner by doing a stitch in the same space as that first. So where that stitch marker is, that big hole is where we're going to do our last stitch. It says, where are we? Treble or double crochet in same space as first stitch. So that's what we're going to do right now. So where that stitch marker is, that big hole, that's where you insert your hook. Do that last stitch. Okay, now this is when we move the stitch marker. Put it in the gap in the middle. And now the instruction says to chain 1 and join with a single crochet US or double crochet UK to the 3rd chain of your starting chain. So I did 3 chain, 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to poke my hook in that back loop there. I'm going to bring a loop to the front. And I'm going to yarn over and pull it through there. Okay. So now we've got a 2 chain space in the other corners. This corner is a 1 chain space and a stitch, so a sideways stitch. That sideways stitch is the stitch we're going to work over in the next round. We're going to work exactly where that stitch marker is, in that big hole. So let's have a look at the start of round 3. So chain 3 is our starting chain, and then treble or DC over the joining DC. This is the bit where people get stuck with. Just pretend you're working over a chain space. Yeah, it's really cool. It takes a bit of practice to get, but it's really cool. Okay, so I'll chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, this is the stitch over the joining stitch. Can you see? That's the joining stitch right there. All we're doing is putting our hook in this big hole. That's it. There's nothing different about it. It just sounds different, but it's exactly the same. So that chain 3 and that stitch are your first 2 stitches of that first corner. Now the next instructions, where are we? Round 3. Step treble or double crochet in the next 2 stitches, then a front post treble around the next stitch, and then 2 treble in the next 2 stitches. So that's our side. Okay, so next 2 stitches. So the first one is where we joined 2. Sorry, I'm just waiting for that focus to come back. There we go. It's a bit tricky to see. Oh, am I having trouble seeing it? There we go. There it is there. So we're doing a treble in there. That's 1. Treble in the next stitch. That's 2. Now we're going to do a front post stitch. Now if you've never done one before, all it is, you do the stitch as normal, but instead of inserting your hook in here, you insert your hook here underneath the post of that stitch. You can fold your work over to make it really easy if you like. Some people like to do that. I know I did that when I was first learning. So yarn over, insert your hook, make sure you don't go in there, yeah, under here. Yarn over, pull a loop up, and then pull it a little bit longer than you normally would, because you are going down lower. You're not going up here, you're going down here. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And then we have to do a stitch in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2. Whoops. Now this round I found myself making mistakes quite often after I thought I'd memorised the pattern. The corners, last time we did 1 stitch, 2 treble, 1 stitch, 2 chain, 1 stitch. This time, on this round, we do 2 stitches, 2 chain, 2 stitches in each corner. That's 1, whoops. 1, 2. 1, 2 chain and 2 stitches. Oh, sorry, it's because I'm working at a weird angle. It keeps slipping off the hook. I think I'd have to be back a little bit further too to stay in focus. Okay, so that's ignoring those first 2 stitches. That's one side and one corner done. I'll just keep going and do the next. Now sometimes when you've got more stitches in the corner, it can be hard to find where to put that stitch in that first stitch. So just pull them aside and you'll see the hole magically appears. Sorry, it will get quicker after. I've done a couple of samples up to a few other points, and now we're up to a front post stitch. Pull out that loop a little bit longer. I think most people have managed the front post stitches quite well, which is good. It can be a bit daunting when you first start. I know the first time I tried them, back post stitches were introduced at the same time, and I got terribly confused. So anyway, in Fran we don't have any back post stitches. We've only got front post stitches, normal stitches. I think I'm just trying to think. Mostly, I think we've covered all the different techniques we'll be using for the rest of Fran now. We're just going to be using them in different combinations. One. Oh, goodness me. There we go. Another front post stitch. If you don't pull up that loop a little bit longer, oh cool, that's good. Oh, that little bit of placement in a different spot just adds a really nice texture to things. Yeah, but if you don't pull up a longer loop with your front post stitch, your sides can get pulled in. It can distort everything. That's why mine's relatively straight. But if you don't, it can pull that down. 1, 2. Next time around, the next pattern, it's mainly made up of double crochets or single crochets if you're US, and a lot of chain one, skip one type stuff. No front post stitches or anything. Okay, we're up to the last side now. If I can fumble my way through it, it's very frustrating for me. Normally I would have breezed through this by now. Okay, last front post stitch for this round. Okay, and okay, we nearly finished the side. 1, 2. Oh. Okay, now this bits that confuse people again. Okay, so we've done all of our repeats. Now we're up to this bit. 2 treble or double crochet in the same space as the first stitches, which is where the stitch marker is, that great big hole. Oh, goodness me. I'm saying goodness me instead of crikey now. I don't know which one's worse. 1, 2. Okay, and this is the point where we move that stitch marker again into the gap between them, and we chain 1, and then join to the top of that third chain with a double crochet if you're UK or a single crochet if you're US. So pull a loop to the front, yarn over, through 2. Okay, now I'm not going to do the whole next round, I'll just do one side. Oh, is it? I'm finding it really frustrating because I keep fumbling. But anyway, sorry, I just had a sip of tea. Okay, right. So I have to go over the page. So this is the next round at the top here. So again, we're only doing this, the corners in this round, only 1 stitch, 2 chain, 1 stitch. So we just do 3 chain to start. And then we're actually going to do 3 front post stitches along each side. So we're going to do a treble or double crochet in 2 stitches. Then twice we're going to do this, a front post stitch and a treble in the 1, a front post stitch, a treble in 1, then a front post, treble in 2, and then we do our corner and repeat everything as normal. So I'm only going to do 1 corner of this because, yeah, I'm going to do my false treble again. Now that is really fiddly when you first start. It took me so long to figure out how to do it, but I was so glad when I finally did. Okay, so this is that big loop there where we join to is where we do our first stitch. That's why I don't like doing with chain 3. It just looks so wrong. That looks so much better than that. Anyway, so 1, 2. Now we do a front post treble around the next stitch, and then a treble in the next stitch, a front post around the next, focus again, a treble in the next, front post around the next, and then a treble in the last 2 stitches. Now sometimes I think I almost miss that one there because it gets a little bit caught up, so make sure you've got 2 stitches to go and make sure you get that one there. 1, 2, and our corner is just 1 stitch, 2 chain, 1 stitch. Ugh. There we go. So you can see, I don't know, it's a bit hard to see sometimes in one colour, but it really does add a nice texture to your patterns, I think. All right, so you continue that around, joining up as we've done before. Then the next round is just a straight round of double crochet for UK or single crochet. So I'm not going to show you how to do that because that's relatively easy. Just remembering to move that stitch counter each time. I am going to show you round 6 though, because it's the skipping round. It can be, some people get a bit stuck on the skipping round, especially the counting. Actually, before I go on, I'll just share how my stitch counts work. So, sorry, let me go back here. 11 stitches along each side and 4 2-chain corner spaces. Okay, so what that means is, go here, along each side. So between the corner space and corner, between the 2-chain spaces, you should have 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. Yay! So along each of the sides between the 2-chain spaces, there should be 11 stitches. It's a good idea to check, particularly before you get to this round probably. What was the one before? 9 stitches along each side. So let's have a look. We've got 2-chain, 2-chain. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 stitches along each side between the 2-chain spaces. Anyway, that's the stitch counts. All right, so let me get this one in. So this one I have completed round 4 and 5, or almost. I'm just up to that last corner. Sorry, let me get these organised. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this stitch marker in here. I'll just pretend I've done that in the last round, if I can. There we go. So round 5 ends with a double crochet or single crochet in the same space as first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. So you insert your hook, bring a loop to the front, yarn over, pull through. Now we move the stitch marker. This is probably the trickiest round for this to see what's happening. Okay, so we're going to do our join now. Join up round 5 with a chain 1 and join with a double crochet to that first double crochet. So yarn over, pull it to the front, yarn over through 2. Now because it's such a small hole, you really do rely on that stitch marker to show you where to put your hook when you need to come back and finish the next round. So round 6 is our skipping stitches round, but just like we did in Pam. So we're chaining 3 is our first stitch, then we're going to 6 times, chain 1, skip a stitch, treble in the next stitch. Then we finish with a chain 1, skip 1 stitch, 1 stitch, 3 chain, 1 stitch in the corners. Okay, so I will chain 3 just to make it look like what you might be doing. Chain 3. Now the first stitch that you're, so we've chained 3, now we need to chain another one. That's our first skipping thing. Okay, so, right, where that stitch marker is, that's not the stitch we're skipping, that's our joining stitch. We're skipping the first stitch of the previous round, which is this one. So the first stitch we work into is actually the stitch that's worked into the first stitch of the round before. So this is the first stitch we work into. Then we chain 1, we skip 1 and a stitch in the next. Chain 1, skip 1 into the next. Oops. Sorry, this dark blue probably isn't ideal. Goodness me. Hello again. So you Instagram people, have any of your feeds gone not chronological? Mine's still chronologically, but I'm seeing that a few people are saying that theirs isn't and it's not working out for them. I've seen a lot of people joining LO, whatever that is, but I understand it's only for Apple, so it's no good to me. Okay, so I've done I've done 6 repeats of chain 1, treble in next. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Me too. Okay. Right. So the last bit of this round is to chain 1 and skip 1, and then we do 1 stitch, 3 chain. Oops. Oh, crikey. Back to crikey again. 3. So that's that corner. So we do that all the way around, and I will magically show you how to finish off that round by putting that one aside and pulling out this one. Okay, ta-da, magic, all the way around. So to end this one, this row is a little bit different in that, where are we? Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and join with a half treble to the third chain instead of a DC. If you're UK terms, if you're US terms, it will be join with a half DC to the third chain of your starting chain. So that's what this looks like. This is what that looks like. Chain 1, yarn over, insert your hook, pull the loop to the front, yarn over, pull it through all 3 loops on the hook. So what that does, all the other corners are 3 chain, 3 chain, 3 chain. We want to be in the middle of that 3 chain space to start our next round, because we're going to do 2 stitches. Each corner is going to be 2 stitches, 2 chain, 2 stitches. So we want to be in the middle of that 3 chain space to do our first 2 stitches. So that half treble or half double crochet takes the place of 1.5 chain. So we're our hook is at this point. So we're going to be doing 2 stitches to start the next round. You can do chain 1 first if you want. Some people do, but I don't bother. So that's 1 over that joining stitch, 2 over that joining stitch. So your stitch marker would be in here. Well, I've thrown them all on the floor. Here's one. I'll just undo it to make it really clear for those people who are not getting it yet. Okay, so I've chained 1. I'm joining with the half stitch. Now I'm going to do 2 stitches where the stitch marker is. Whenever you see joining stitch, do it where the stitch marker is if you're using them. So that's 2 stitches over the joining stitch. Next, we're going to do a stitch in each stitch and space across. And that is pretty much all there is to it. We just do the same thing all the way around. When you get to each corner, it's 2 stitches, 2 chain, 2 stitches. Let's just pretend that I've done all the way around. All right. So I'm coming back around the other side. I've finished all the other corners and sides. Now I'm back to the very start where it says 2 stitches in same space as first stitches, which is where the stitch marker is. So we do 1, 2, oops, the extra thread. Then we chain 1 and join with a DC UK or SC US. It can be a bit fiddly if you don't do that chain 1 to get into here. It's even more fiddly through the camera. Anyway, yarn over, pull it through to the front. Come on, camera. Yarn over, pull it through 2. And then we're up to the last round, which is simply a straight treble round or double crochet round. So I'm not going to show you that because I'm sure you can all manage that one yourselves. The only difference is when you're finishing, because we don't need to go around to the next round, is we finish with chain 2 and we do join with a slip stitch. So we're joining up If this was the last round, we would be joining up here instead of here. That's the only difference in the very last round. So that's it. So I'll just show you. So that's the round of that I just started showing you then, and then it's the very final round. So that's it pretty much. The making of Fran. I mean, not Fran, the making of Anne. I was going to have a preview of next week's to show you, but I forgot to get it out. Not next week's, the week after. Let me just see if I can... Well, here we go. I can give you a sneaky peek. This block here is going to be our next one. That's Sue that we'll be meeting next time around. Oops, I'll just put the camera back around. Oh, I'll put my glasses back on so I can see. There we go. So, there you go. Hopefully everything you need to make Anne. If you need, does anyone have any questions? You're welcome. I'm glad it was fun for you. If everyone's happy, thank you. And just give me some hearts and I'll know and I'll sign off. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon with the next one. Thank you. Thanks for